Hey guys, how are you doing? How's everyone today on this Friday, one day after our 7/7 portal? I just got off a podcast recording with our favorite Mary Ducina. So just so you guys all know, this upcoming Tuesday, we'll be giving you a full rundown of that super moon, that full moon in Capricorn. So don't miss that. That's coming out at 8 p.m. on Eastern this Tuesday. And before I get into the topic of this particular video, I also want you to know that I sent out an email on Wednesday, the 6th, and I saw from the analytics, I think it went into everyone's spam folder. So if you are on my email list and you haven't received an email, go check your spam folder for July 6th and see if it showed up there. Add me to either your contacts or mark it as not spam, because I will be sending out more emails over the summer. It's just because I haven't sent any out in a long time. I think it went to spam. Anyways, I'm doing a talk at this awesome event. It's online and it's starting next Wednesday on the 13th. And it is a leadership webinar series, and there are going to be some fabulous speakers, some that you've seen on my podcast and some you haven't. And I'll be talking about authentic leadership in the face of cancel culture. And it truly is one of my favorite talks that I've given. I think it's really potent. I've never talked about this topic at all on my channel, at least in the way that I'm going to discuss cancel culture and the trauma healing aspects of our society that need to happen, and why authentic leadership is the counter to that cancel culture. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description below. It's a free series, so it costs you nothing. You can sign up below, and then that way you'll get notified for when the talk is. Hello everyone, Noctura, Emily, RB, Shelly, Indigo. Hello everyone, it's so good to see you. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have been experiencing this at all lately, and I'm talking about it because it's become very prevalent in my life. And I'm getting that given the full moon that we've got coming up in Capricorn, which I don't want to go into too much of that because I talk about it on the podcast with Mary on Tuesday. This is kind of like a precursor to that podcast. And you'll understand what this full moon is really bringing up for us. But I have been noticing that there are certain energies that I thought maybe I was attracting into my life, very old energies that I thought I had healed from, purged, and they've kind of come back in full force, even in just the last week, but definitely more so over the last couple of months, but it's really ramped up probably in the last few weeks. And these energies just don't make any sense when I look at my own life. So one of the things that I've talked about on this channel, and I talk about with all of you who've worked with me as clients, that it's so important for us to look at our life as a mirror of what might be going on inside of us. But that's not always correct. It is absolutely kind of like should be our default. It's the first thing we kind of want to assess, but it doesn't mean that that's always the right answer as to what's explaining, like to explain what is actually happening in your life. And I was kind of tuning into this. I was asking, my higher self, I'm like, what is going on here? What am I doing to bring these energies that, to be quite honest, are kind of really draining my energy. They're definitely not aligned with where I'm going and what I'm working on. And it doesn't make any sense to me. And so, in fact, they're very reflective of an energy I had in my life 10 years ago. And so I kind of sat with this and I'm like, what is going on? I feel like that as we're preparing for new, let's just call them new leaps of faith in our own journey, because we've got the Uranus and North Node conjunction coming up in a few weeks on the 31st, 1st of August. Mars will be conjuncting both those planets, which is really making this conjunction very, very rare. This is a very rare transit for it to be happening in the sign of Taurus. It hasn't happened here since, like, I believe since Babylonian times. So there's something in the air here, though, that we're being pushed to go into a higher timeline. The way I see the North Node is that it is where we need to move to that is very uncomfortable for us because we just don't know it. It's new to us. It's foreign. It holds a lot of potential, but it's a little scary because we don't know what we're going to get when we go there. But it is very much, in many ways, aligned with our destiny. And Uranus is very much wanting big change that's perhaps progressive, but it's for our future. It could involve some sort of innovation. I am getting that there's some kind of reinvention of ourselves that is happening around this time leading into this conjunction at the end of the month. And it's, of course, not going to just be around this time period where you're going to feel it. I feel like this is actually, you're going to be feeling this for quite a couple months after this conjunction. And so a lot of this has been happening for me. There's a lot of reinvention that I'm doing. I mean, just for my ayahuasca ceremonies and the psilocybin ceremony that I did in June, there is a lot that purged. A lot has purged. I definitely went through not just a physical detox, but a very deep unconscious detox. And I think the more I've been thinking about it, and Mary Ducina confirmed this for me because we were talking about it, that I know that when we're detoxing and we may have that big full out purge that comes out, there's still this lingering energy and still a residual that's still needing to clear out. So the detox isn't exactly fully over. Well, if you're purging and detoxing really dark and unconscious energy that is limiting to you, it is not in alignment with the most supportive aspects of yourself that you are today, that it's not going to help you move forward, it's actually going to hinder you. When you start to release that and you detox it, well, it's kind of still in your field, right? Like the energy is so close and so fresh. It's like when you think about it, the body still needs to heal from that detox. It's not like everything's perfect again. There's a settling that needs to happen. And so there's that aspect going on where I think that we're being called to let go. Of course, we're coming up to a full moon, which, things come to light. There's a lot of illumination and it's time to kind of release things, let things go. So there's certain patterns in our life, possibly people, things that we need to be letting go of. And right now, with the way the timelines are working, there's so much energy shifting that you have to remember that when you really take initiative to upgrade your entire essence, who you are on a soul level, like really upgrade yourself, like you're gonna step into a brand new timeline that is very different from the one that you've been operating in for quite some time. There are going to be energies that will miss you when you leave. And those energies don't want you to leave. Those energies need you to stay. And what I've gathered is that there are energies that will likely be coming up around your life and that are feeling your upgrading into a new timeline and will try to disrupt your process of transitioning into a new timeline or derail it. And I've been feeling that. I've been experiencing that in my life recently. And I'm going to tell you that these energies are a little covert. They're a little sneaky. Okay. They're not appearing exactly as they say they are. And so when I say that, I mean the energy that presents itself will come into you in a very nice package or seem really nice up front. But when you unwrap that package, it is not what is presented on the outside. And so we have to be very discerning. And I think this is calling for a lot of discernment on our part, which I feel a lot of us have been learning deep lessons in discernment over this time. And so right now we've got some big changes happening, not just personally, but obviously collectively in the world. There are huge changes happening. I mean, the stock market's in disarray, cryptocurrency's in disarray, the shipping industry is in disarray, food industry is crazy. We're going to see wild weather patterns over this summer, crazy wild weather patterns. We've already seen some of it, but that's going to also amp up. And so there's just a lot that we're saying, no, this doesn't work for me anymore. Like, this isn't working. And we're in the midst of like a system shakeup. And when you bring that down to the micro of your own system shaking up, and you're saying, you know what, I'm not operating at this level anymore. I'm not operating within this energy field. I want to operate in a different timeline that actually supports my dreams and actually supports my heart's desires. And I'm tired of playing small, and I'm tired of playing to everyone else's needs and not my own. It's time for me to actually embrace my greatness, embrace what is destined for me, right? And that requires us to step through a lot of our fears. And there are people on this planet, of course, who are too scared to face their own demons and step through their own fears. And so when you create a new timeline that actually allows you to resonate in that field and actually allows your whole reality to change and support you as opposed to take from you, the energies that no longer have access to you are freaking out, so to speak, right? They're freaking out. So there's this grabby energy that's coming in. There's a grabby energy that wants to grab in this timeline just to kind of yank you in, and it'll come through in a way that at first feels genuine or at first feels good, and it's a really sneaky energy. And I say that because we've got this full moon in Capricorn coming up, and it's being heavily influenced by Pluto. And Pluto likes to reveal secrets. And I feel like there are going to be a lot of hidden agendas and secrets being revealed, whether they're conscious agendas or unconscious agendas. It's not the point. It's just that we have to be more discerning of this. And so be aware over this summer, because we have this huge transit happening with Uranus in the North Node and Mars, which is completely shaking everything up, right? It's shaking the whole course up. And Mars is very fiery, right? Mars wants to take action. Mars wants to show up, but Mars is also the planet of war and combat. And so there is a fight happening here as well. So we have to understand, sometimes we have to disengage from the battle in order to win the war. And when I say that, I mean the war being your long-term goals, what you want for your life and what you aspire to, what you hope for. So be aware that there are these kind of derailments and disruptions happening through a timeline adjustment period where you could be in transition, right? Because once you're in there, it's a lot harder to reach you. Someone's going to have to really show up with some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say altered energy, but altered in a way that actually allows for that kind of resonance for communication there. So this is important. I don't know if you guys have been feeling this. I don't know if you guys have been going through this at all. Have you been feeling really perplexed about the big changes you've been making in your life and really doing the healing work? And then all of a sudden, all of the old shit starts to show up again, and it comes out of nowhere, and it kind of comes up sneaky. At first everything seems great, and then boom, it all just turns on a dime. And you start to wonder, well, what am I doing now? Why am I bringing this in? Because, we like to take responsibility for our reality. We are the co-creators. And so we need to always look at our role in it. But the truth is that we don't control everything, obviously. We don't control everything. And it is important to also understand that there are energies that don't want you to go because they don't want to go where you're going. And this is like a message that I got, like, if you don't want to be hurt anymore, if you don't want to be hurt by people anymore, you got to walk a path they're not willing to walk along to find you on. And that's the healing path. You got to walk where they're not willing to go. They're too scared to go. And when you start walking that path, more healed people will show up in your life, right? You're going to have more healed circumstances. It doesn't mean you're immune to everything, of course not. But you get a lot more of the good in a sense of reciprocation of what you've been putting into yourself. So the other thing is, though, is that just as you're about to leave on that path, or just as you're starting to walk on that path, if you haven't got too far along that path yet, the people who don't want you to go because they need your energy, they're not willing to do the work for themselves, and so they feed off your energy. It's kind of like an energy vampire. And of course, again, people aren't doing this consciously. They're not like purposely, for the most part, saying, I want that person's energy. I don't want to create it myself. I'm just going to go take theirs. No, it doesn't work like that. For the most part, people are like, oh, I just feel really good around this person, or this person just, I need them in my life because everything just feels a lot better. But yet they're not really taking responsibility for their side of the street and actually doing the things they need to in order to step up in their own life. Right. And of course, again, we've all been there. It's not like to shame anyone, but at this point where we really need to start focusing on what's best for us in order to show up in the best way that we can and help, whoever it is that, whether it's your own family, maybe it's your mission, whatever it might be, you have to be at your best. So there are some big timeline disruptions and derailments that I'm seeing kind of coming in, and they can kind of trick you and make you feel like, oh shoot, there's something that I'm not clearing. And it could be maybe that you have recently cleared it. Like I cleared a lot of stuff through ayahuasca and psilocybin, and thereafter it's been continuously purging. So as it's kind of detoxing out, that energy is still lingering around me, right? It's still there. And so it can become a vibrational match for stuff to kind of come in right now. It makes me in some ways, I want to say, a little bit vulnerable because I'm in a healing phase. And so I'm not as astute, I'm not as discerning as I might be when I'm stronger. So keep that in mind, because that is important to recognize. And we do have big changes. We're all facing some really big challenges and changes coming up this summer. This transit is one of the big ones of 2022. It's important for you guys all to know where Taurus is in your chart. This is how you can understand what house is being affected the most, where you're going to see the most change and disruption happening, and where you want to really lean into. So if whatever your rising sign is, first, if you know your rising, check out where Taurus falls in your chart, and that home will definitely give you some insight into it. Now, if you need some help, if you want to kind of get some guidance on what's kind of coming up and how to navigate this over the next couple of months, I can do that for you guys. You guys know that I've been doing coaching with astrology. You guys have been booking that. So just book a coaching session, an intuitive coaching session with me, and just put in the notes when you purchase it that you want an astrology reading. And what we can do is we can look at how this Uranus North Node Mars conjunction is playing out in your life, what kind of pitfalls you want to watch out for, and where you may really want to lean into to put yourself in a really good position for better outcomes. So that's something that I can definitely do for you guys if you're interested. And let me just see how you guys are all doing in the live chat, because I haven't done a live in a long time. So, hello, Keystone, Sooterbug, Beth, Christine, hello. Oh, it's been happening for you. You totally agree. Yeah, it's been crazy. Dusty, hello. Double X Kiss, Scott. Oh, hello, Scott and Indigo. How's everyone doing? Up threes here, Anna. So, do you guys have any questions that you want to ask me regarding this? And again, remember, Mary and I go into more detail about this full moon in Capricorn. And it's really good because, especially towards the end, not only does she go through all the signs for you guys on how this full moon is affecting you, but her and I really break it down towards the end on how important what I'm talking about right now, understanding your energy and how responsible you need to be with your energy right now. So that it's going to be a really good show. Let me see here. Indigo, you are the community now. Be the lamp for yourselves. Be your own refuge. Seek no other. All things must pass. Strive on diligently. Don't give up. Buddha. That's beautiful. I love that. I really love that. And of course, guys, if you're not already, please follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I am putting up other little short video clips that I don't put here on YouTube. They're kind of more inspirational, motivational, and type little videos. So links for that are down below. Question here, Christine. How do you politely say sayonara to the person who's hanging on? You know, if you've communicated it and you've politely asked and it's still not happening, like your boundaries aren't being respected, then I'm of the mind of just completely blocking, which, you know, if there's a way for you to really kind of block that energy, then do it, whether it's, you know, on your phone, your social media. That's the problem with technology, is that it makes it too easy for people to reach you when you don't want them to. But I would also, you know, make a declaration join up forces with your own higher self and your inner child. Okay, bring all three, the Trinity, together, you, your higher self, and your inner child, and declare to that person, their higher self, and their inner child, that you no longer have a contract with them. Declare that whatever was going on, like, it's over now. And that there are certain needs or boundaries that needed to be respected and they weren't. Sorry if you're hearing a bunch of movement. Our AC is getting fixed right now. So I think that I've used that recently, actually. I've done a declaration. I've even pulled in my galactic self and the other person's galactic self. And I said, no more. Don't even show up in my dreams anymore. It's done. I'm done, moving on. Sayonara. So, your power of your intention and the power of your word are real. It's legit. You gotta mean it. So if you mean it, say it, declare it, and so it will be. And let me see here, Beth, are these our lessons that are coming up again, or the other person's? Both. They are both. So it is important to understand, obviously, that we're dealing with polarities. And so there's always two sides here. But it's not your job to worry about what the other person's lessons are. It's just your job to take notice of your own. And, your lesson could simply be when do you say enough is enough? Or it could just be getting more comfortable with saying no or saying yes to yourself. That could be more of the lesson for you. Depending on, the lesson could be how bad do you want it? What are you willing to stop doing? And what are you willing to start doing in order to make this timeline shift, right? We got to make choices. Every choice matters. And the choices that we avoid, we don't make, are actually still choices. So there's no getting around that one. Great question, Beth. Christina, okay, you love that one. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. And again, I love you. If you need your own personal session, you need some guidance, you can book in the description below. Head on over to my website otherwise. And I would love to work with you. And of course, for those of you in my alchemy, I know I've been a little MIA. Things have dramatically shifted over the last 24 hours. And so that will not be so much anymore. And I actually have a challenge for all of you in alchemy. We are going to start it this month. It's going to be a super fun challenge. It's going to be simple. It's going to be easy, but it might be a little daunting at first, but it will completely, radically change your day. And we're going to do it for like 30 days. So I'm excited to bring that up on our live call this Sunday. If you're not in alchemy and you'd like to be there, links in the description below to join alchemy. I'd love to have you there. Guys, I love you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. And of course, I will see you guys in the live chat for the podcast on Tuesday with Mary Ducina at 8 p.m. Eastern. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll be back with you guys soon.